This year, learn from the best to become your best with Masterclass. With Masterclass, every new membership comes with a 30-day money back guarantee, so there's no risk. And right now, our listeners will get an additional 15% off an annual membership at masterclass.com/ratchet. Get 15% off right now at masterclass.com/ratchet. Masterclass.com/ratchet. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those who don't identify as either, you are listening to Ratchet and Respectable. I'm still in Cape Town. I have to say these things because, I like to run off and gallivant. I really haven't done anything since the last time we spoke. The weather hasn't been so good here. Today is actually beautiful. It's 7:49 in the morning. I don't know what time zone I'm on. I've been waking up most days around 4 or 5 o'clock. And instead of like trying to go back to sleep, I just, do some work or clean the house or whatever. But 7:49 a.m., it looks like the beginnings of a very beautiful day. Finally, the sun is out. Been cloudy and overcast, a little rainy, at least on Wednesday. So I've been inside catching up on some work and making some plans for next week. Mom is coming to visit. She'll be here for a few weeks. So I'm super excited about that. I'm currently staying in a studio. It reminds me of my place in LA, well, both of my places in LA. It's not a loft per se, but it has like the high ceilings and open floor plan because, studio. It's a big studio, but a studio nonetheless. But mom is coming and we are both only children and need our individual space. So I'm moving to a 2-bedroom, same building, same owners. I'm in this really adorable building. I would guess there's probably, I don't know, like 30 or so apartments. One person owns 16 or 17 of them. The place that I'm staying in now is the same building that I stayed in last time I was here. I really just love the area and the building. And I'm in a different apartment than before, same owners. And I'm moving to a different apartment than the one I had before. That was a 2-bedroom, same owners. Because again, they own 16 properties. I think I might want to get a space here and in Ghana. I think about not getting that apartment. It's not every day anymore, but I think about it on a regular basis. Logically, I know I made the right decision pulling out of that deal, but emotionally, I really, really wanted that place. We have some updates on some things that we discussed on Tuesday. Kind of saw this one coming. We talked about Jaguar Wright, singer Jaguar Wright, a singer who is probably more known for her conspiracy theories than her completely and absolutely amazing voice. She was invited on Piers Morgan earlier this week and made some allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce that I called out on the last episode. And I was like, hey, you can't just be saying all sorts of crazy shit about people with nothing to back it up. Like she referred to Jay-Z and Beyonce as monsters. She said they had hundreds of victims, alleging that they had more scandal than Diddy, alleging, but without saying allegedly. And I said last episode, whoa, 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 like you can't say that. Like you will, in fact, get Tasha K. Jay-Z and Beyonce's lawyer swiftly reached out to Piers Morgan and them and was like, nah, B. Fun fact, Beyonce and Jay-Z's lawyer is a man by the name of, was it Alex Spira? If that name sounds familiar to you, he's also the attorney on record for the New York mayor, Eric Adams, who was just indicted either last week or the week before. I was like, yo, it is such a small circle. Alex Spiro apparently, and not allegedly, reached out to Piers Morgan and his show Uncensored, and Piers Morgan quickly issued a retraction. So Jaguar Wright talked crazy on Monday, and then on Tuesday, Piers Morgan issued a full-blown apology. He's a very pompous, arrogant, obnoxious man. He's not really known for his apologies. I'm reading this on The Cut, and they note that the apology is quote unquote rare. But Piers Morgan says that he was prompted by legal action from the Carters. Quote, when Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview, they were not present to respond or defend themselves. Their lawyers contacted us to say those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact. And we've therefore complied with their legal request to cut them from the original interview. So not just, we're acknowledging we got response from the legal team and we're saying that it's false, taking the extra step. So when this interview is played on YouTube or wherever, Jaguar Wright's portion of the interview where she discusses the Carters will not be included. Like it's being completely censored. That is also very, very, very rare. Morgan continued, editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But like the proverbial cries of fire at a crowded theater, there are legal limits on us too. We apologize to Jay-Z and Beyonce. He went on to say, and I think he could have left this part out, to be quite honest with you. It kind of lessens the apology. He went on to say that the Jaguar Wright has a platform anyway. Just pulled it up. It's on People. I want to give you exactly what he said. He says, quote, the thing about platforms, the reality of the modern world is that pretty much everyone has a platform as long as they have something to say that other people want to hear. That's why we invited Wright on to be interviewed. The people making these claims have an audience with or without shows like mine. Sir, you really could have stopped after the apology. Adding this on because he's a petty man. Remember he got fired from his show for the shit he said about Meghan Markle? His show in the UK, like their version of Good Morning America. He got replaced by the really fine black dude. So he has a point that anybody with a social media account in a sense has a platform. But I would argue that there is or should be, a higher burden of integrity for journalists. Piers Morgan does bill himself as a journalist. And as such, you have a duty when you are platforming someone, because Jaguar Wright has her own platform, but Piers Morgan has a significantly bigger one. And as a journalist, there's an expectation of some credibility of journalism, of ethics, of integrity when you are inviting someone to your platform. That's what separates journalism from, say, podcasting or blogging, people ranting on IG Live. Like there's supposed to be like some integrity and ethics involved. And I don't think that that's what Piers Morgan used here. I think it's a false equivalence to be like, oh, everybody has a platform. It's much different than, being an actual journalist and going on a news show. There's an expectation of truth, which wasn't delivered here. After Piers Morgan does this apology, across the internet, I saw lots of different people say it, and they were like, oh, that cease and desist was swift. Jay-Z and Beyonce's lawyer, who's also a petty man, he went on TMZ just to clarify that there was absolutely no need for him to do this. He sent, as it turned out, it was quote unquote an ultimatum. That's what Spiro called it. He was like, it wasn't no cease and desist. He was like, I issued an ultimatum. There was absolutely no need for him to go on TMZ and clarify this. He issued the ultimatum. Piers Morgan apologized the next day. I think that little part on the end about the platforming of it all, I think that's probably what pissed him off. You told the man, you got to do X or else I'm going to bring the heat. And he did it. There was no need for him to go on TMZ, but he went anyway. He wanted to clarify the nature of the communication. I'm reading this on Tribune.com. He said, quote, this was a pointed and formal accusation of something that I felt needed to be responded to. I think somebody reported it was a cease and desist. It wasn't that. It was quite bluntly an ultimatum. Remove that false accusation or a court is going to order you to. I would believe he said a little more than that. He's not telling us all of what he said, but I was like, I would love to see exactly what they sent over to the legal team over at Uncensored that had Piers Morgan stumbling over himself a day later to apologize. Like, that's more than just like, we'll send the courts after you. I feel like there was more to it than that. But at least they had the good sense to comply, because about this is what happened with Cardi and Tasha K. That whole thing only ever went as far as it did because when Tasha K started saying crazy stuff about Cardi, her legal team reached out and was like, hey, stop talking about her, saying it's false shit and take it down. And Tasha K refused and then started going harder on Cardi. And then that's when the lawsuits happened. At least Piers Morgan got enough sense to be like, you know what? We don't want the smoke. My apologies. And then some little petty shit afterward, just because, he's a petty mofo. This has been posted everywhere. I've been in the comment section reading the reaction to it. It seems people have their own new conspiracy theories. Jay-Z and Beyonce's lawyer went after Piers Morgan, but they didn't go after Jaguar Wright. And they were like, oh, well, they're not suing Jaguar Wright, so maybe there's some truth in what she's saying. And they think if they sue her, then she'll respond with evidence or more details about her accusations. Because they didn't sue her, that gives more credibility to what she was saying. And Remy Ma voice, are you dumb? They didn't sue Jaguar Wright. One, I don't think Jaguar Wright has any real money to lose because it would be a civil suit. Suing Jaguar Wright does what? Also, I heard people say that Jaguar Wright had some, allegedly, because I ain't trying to be sued, has some mental health issues. I didn't know the extent of them. until I did the last episode and people were writing in and they were like, okay, sis, you going real easy on Jaguar, right? Like she's done some real like crazy shit. Something like throwing her son's ashes on people. People had shared some other very extreme things that she said about other celebrities, and they were like, no, sis is not well. I think the Carters would look, a bit insane trying to go after someone who I would say the public believes is struggling immensely with mental health issues. That just makes you like an asshole. I feel like they did what needed to be done. Piers Morgan is the journalist in this situation. It was his show. He is the one that's supposed to have integrity and credibility and ethics in situations like this. And he didn't exercise them by inviting Jaguar Wright on the show and also airing the segment after it was recorded. Like you could have cut that if you wanted to. They chose not to. He didn't do his due diligence as a journalist, and therefore, he was the person that should be addressed. Also, it's been over 20 years since I was in J school, but like we have whole classes on ethics. It's standard in any journalism training. We're also taught about defamation and slander. There is a large wiggle room with public figures. You can say a lot more about them than you can about private citizens. And still, there are limits. You can't just accuse or heavily imply that people have abused or assaulted folks and there are hundreds of victims without any kind of proof. Like, that's crazy. Hence why Piers Morgan received an ultimatum. I love when big petty trumps little petty. We've all hit a point where we realized it was time to make serious money moves. Take control of your finances by using a Chime checking account with features like no maintenance fees, fee-free overdraft up to $200, or getting paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. Learn more at chime.com/ratchet. I love how easy Chime makes it to get your finances in order and how easy they make it to access your money. Chime allows you access to over 50,000 fee-free ATMs. And if you're running a little low on funds, Chime's got you. Chime has spotted members over $30 billion to date, and Chime never charges fees or interest for using SpotMe. Make your fall finances a little greener by working towards your financial goals with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/ratchet. That's chime.com/ratchet. Chime feels like progress. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank North America or Stride Bank North America. Members FDIC. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in SpotMe and are subject to monthly limits. Terms and conditions apply. Go to chime.com/disclosures for details. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Halloween lets us have fun with what scares us. But what about those fears that don't involve zombies and ghosts? Therapy is a great tool for facing your fears and finding ways to overcome them. Because sometimes the scariest thing is not facing our fears in the first place and holding ourselves back. I am a huge advocate of therapy. I think everyone should have some, even the people that think they don't need it, and especially the people who are afraid of confronting what scares them. Living in fear is no way to live. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I love how easy BetterHelp makes it to access professional counseling. Overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/ratchet today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ratchet. Actually haven't seen it yet. I haven't had a chance to sit down and take it all in. Deon Cole, who's one of my faves. Did I tell y'all the Deon Cole story? I ain't gonna tell y'all the Deon Cole story. He is just so precious to me. I had shared the Deon Cole story with my manager. I don't know if he actually worked Deon Cole's tour, but he's been around him in several situations. It was like you and every other woman, 18 to 80. He was like, y'all just love Deon Cole. He's like, what is it about this nigga? And I was like, have you like, I mean, I think he's easy on the eye, but I was like, have you just like listened to him? Like the stuff that comes out of his mouth, like he has an incredible personality and he's witty and his whole demeanor He got that big ass bed with the mirror on the ceiling. I'd be all up in his Instagram. He's lovely, just precious. I only feel that way about a very small number of people in real life and celebrity. I don't even call Usher precious. But Deon Cole, I also haven't got a chance to watch. He has a new stand up on Netflix, new-ish. I think it came out like a month ago. I haven't had a chance to watch that either. I have some downtime coming up. Maybe I'll watch it then. But Deon Cole is on Shannon Sharpe. I've only seen the clips thus far. And two of them, it made it seem like Deon Cole was interviewing Shannon Sharpe. Like you're supposed to be the guest on the show, but it seems like he's asking a bunch of questions. Because he pointedly asked Shannon Sharpe, and he was like, that video of you, that Instagram live, you did that on purpose? That was staged? I'm paraphrasing. Shannon Sharpe denied it again. He was like, no, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing to my family. Like, I worked for Disney. Like, there was so much on the line. I could have lost my job. He was like, no, I wouldn't do anything like that. And I was like, but you would make merchandise off of it. The most embarrassing thing that ever happened to you. And you commemorate the moment in perpetuity with merchandise. Okay. And keep talking about it continuously on your show. Like he and Chad had Coach Prime on, and like Prime brought it up, and I was like, you could edit these things out of your show. Like editing does exist, and you choose to keep airing it and keep people talking about it. The most embarrassing moment of your life on the platforms that you control. There's plenty of embarrassing shit that's happened in my life. There's one thing for sure that I won't even mention because I control the platform. Why would I? That's an option. He chooses not to execute it. I saw something else too. Deon Cole was asking him about threesome. Shannon Sharpe he's quite the conundrum. He says he's never had a threesome, which fine. He says he likes to focus on one person at a time, which is fine. But he just got so bashful and so shy in talking about sex. And I was like, sir, like you literally just made a sex tape. I mean, an audio sex tape. But I was like, you bashful to talk about sex? Okay. This is not a segment about Shannon Sharpe. It's a segment about Deon Cole. But Deon Cole is apparently telling all sorts of like, you know how Cat Williams went on the show and essentially used it as like a 3-hour stand-up? I kind of feel like just from the clips I've seen that Deon Cole has done about the same. He was telling some story. It was another clip about going to the club and trying to take a picture with Jay-Z. And Jay-Z was like, do you see all the women in this club? Why are you trying to take a picture with a man? Like, go focus on the women. And then Deon Cole felt ashamed and embarrassed. Apparently, Michael Jordan does that too. He only takes pictures with kids and women. He don't take pictures with grown men. I was like, those are your biggest fans, sir. That's what's buying up all your Jordans. But Michael Jordan notoriously doesn't give a fuck. Apparently Jay-Z too. But when I get a chance, I watch Deon Cole on Shannon Sharpe and also this Netflix special. We have a Diddy update. Apparently he was at court yesterday. I saw an update on CNN. They observed that he came to court in prison khakis, which I was like, I mean, I guess there's no cameras in there. There's no jury in there at this point. So I guess he doesn't need to get dressed up. The only reason you need to get dressed up is really so you don't look like a criminal to the jury, but the jury ain't there. Just the reporters. And I guess the sketch artists. Anyway, they said Diddy, they have him in leg chain, which I was like, oh God. Many people have pointed out, they were like, that's standard. The prisoners are transported in cuffs and chains. It's not just for Diddy, like that standard procedure. I was like, God, like how the mighty have fallen. But the judge did set a court date for Diddy's trial, May 5th. So now we have a date to look forward to. There was so much speculation. Like, would it be a year? Would it be 2? Would it be 6 months? Diddy got arrested, what, like 3 weeks ago? September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Okay, so 9 months. It's close to a year, but not a year. Those 3 months make a difference when your ass sitting in jail. I'm scrolling the news right now. There are new pictures or drawings from court. This is from the Mirror UK. They have a picture of the sketch. Diddy looks like Martin. I want to know who's drawing these pictures, because if you're not used to drawing Black people, they got the color right, but they're not getting the face right. Because Diddy in these drawings has looked like everybody but Diddy. I'm going to share this picture on my social media when I promote the podcast. He looks like Martin. Oh, dear. The white guy, the lead counsel we've been seeing on TV, he looks about right. There's also a woman sitting next to them at the table. I don't know who she is. I haven't seen her name anywhere. And then there's a Black man with a red bow tie sitting next to him. I don't know who that attorney is. I knew they were going to get somebody Black in there. It looks like Diddy is building out his legal defense. The Mirror has representation in the courtroom. They note Diddy is wearing a muted, ill-fitting prison-issued shirt at the pretrial hearing. The 54-year-old rapper appeared miserable, under the circumstances. He smiled briefly at the sight of his mother and some of his children in the public gallery. The Mirror notes that on their way into court, his family members were booed and jeered by a waiting crowd, many of whom chanted at his mom, Janice, 84, "Your son is a predator." Jesus. Leave these people alone, especially the children. One of the children is being sued, but he's not currently on trial. Don't boo and jeer the children. They dealing with enough. Or his mama. Okay, the Black attorney, his name is Anthony Ricco, Ricco. The courtroom sketch shows Sean Combs entering the courtroom. He hugs his attorney. It says, during the hearing, lawyers discussed the allegation made by Diddy's legal team that the government leaked the now infamous Cassie Ventura video, the one from the hotel, the elevator bank. And prosecutors called the claim baseless and disavowed the defense's statement. They note that he's been denied bail twice on a $50 million bond. His lawyers have now appealed his bail for a third time, and the case is now before the U.S. Second Circuit Court of Appeals. Then they have a picture of Mother Janice arriving to court. She's lost a ton of weight. She's got a new wig. Remember, she used to do the long platinum blonde wig and a ponytail for a really long time? Now she has a wig. It's giving like Beyonce, Austin Powers era wig. Prosecutors have estimated that Diddy's trial could take around 3 weeks. That's it. The Mirror notes 3 weeks, meaning he could be free by June of next year or potentially spending the rest of his life in prison. They said due to the serious crimes he is accused of, if found guilty of racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution, Combs would spend a minimum of 15 years behind bars. Or if the judge decides a higher penalty, he could get a life sentence. They said this could be a tough road for the legendary rapper who is reportedly struggling to adjust to his new life in Metropolitan Detention Center. You think? Speaking to People magazine, it says a fellow music mogul, it doesn't identify the name, but that person said Diddy was struggling to keep his food down, saying, I think the food's probably the roughest part of it. You don't think the loss of freedom is the roughest part? You think the food is the roughest part. Okay. Let's see. I want to just check one more news site and see if we have any additional details. I'm on WWD right now. It says his mother, Janice, and 6 of his 7 children were reportedly in the courtroom. The missing child, I'm going to guess, is the baby. WWD is reporting on the allegations of a leaked videotape. The judge said he would issue an order restricting what both sides can say publicly about the charges and investigation. Okay, I lied. We're going down the rabbit hole. CNN has a story about how Combs is spending his time in jail. It says his family is visiting. He speaks to his lawyers. Those are the only visitors he has, according to an individual. That's it. Just the individual said. A source close to the music producer told CNN. The individual continues. He needs to focus on his case. That's all he's doing all day. It says Combs has 4 adult children and 2 teenage twin girls who have all visited him in jail. It says he's doing fine, but it's hard for him. He's a family person and he loves being a father. In regards to leaking the tapes, this is why I read multiple stories. It says in a letter to the judge on Wednesday night, Damian Williams, a.k.a. Day-Day, the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, wrote that the government was not in possession of the video before its publication by CNN, and that there's no factual basis for Combs' assertion that authorities leaked the video to CNN or in violation of grand jury secrecy rules. Doesn't that kind of imply that Diddy had a copy of the tape in his house when it was raided? If you think that they leaked it, that means you think that they had possession of it, which makes me question, like, where would they get it from? There was also a motion filed by Combs' attorneys that alleged authorities alerted the media about the searches in March the searches, the raids on his home in Los Angeles and Miami. They said the motion claims the leaks taint the jury pool and deprive Mr. Combs of his right to a fair trial. Okay, so last week when I was talking about Janice Combs releasing that statement, as a mother and the impact of what's happening to him on the family, and there's misunderstandings, and he did not do this, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yo, they're trying to influence the potential jury pool. I thought maybe I could be reaching. Apparently not. It also notes prosecutors have started turning over evidence to Combs' legal team, including Combs' cell phone that was seized in March during a search, and started copying 40 devices and 5 iCloud reports to provide to the defense. It says Combs' attorney said they want the judge to order the government to immediately produce the material seized over 6 months ago. The timely production of these materials is critical to Mr. Combs' ability to prepare for his defense. Let me try one more site. I want to turn my VPN on because I'm getting international news. This year, learn from the best to become your best with Masterclass. So many people just talk about improving. Masterclass helps you actually do it. Masterclass offers over 180 world-class instructors. So whether you want to master negotiation with Chris Voss, think like a boss with Martha Stewart, or learn writing and performing poetry with Amanda Gorman that helped me enhance my skills to become a stronger writer, Masterclass has you covered. With Masterclass, you get unlimited access to intimate one-on-one classes with the world's best. There are over 200 classes to pick from, with new classes added every month, like that Martha Stewart class that I mentioned. Think like a boss, live like a legend. Miss Martha shares all of her tips to become legendary. Also, with Masterclass, every new membership comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. And right now, our listeners will get an additional 15% off an annual membership at masterclass.com/ratchet. Get 15% off right now at masterclass.com/ratchet. Masterclass.com/ratchet. Listen up, renters. Ever feel like you're stuck in this loop of rent payments, just watching your money vanish into thin air? It's time to turn that rent game around and start earning some serious rewards. That's where Built Rewards comes in. Built is breaking ground as a neighborhood rewards program that hooks you up with points on your rent. Every month, pay your rent and watch the Built points roll in. Use points to jet off on a dream vacation. Put your points toward a flight or hotel stay with more than 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels and properties. You can also use your points to book fitness studio classes or redeem them toward a future rent payment. They're designed to meet your lifestyle. Pay rent hassle-free through the Built Rewards app. Your rent game just got a major upgrade. Built points have been consistently ranked the highest value point currency by the Points Guy and Bankrate. If you're a renter, then I recommend checking out Built. Earn points by paying rent right now when you go to joinbuilt.com/ratchet. That's joinbilt.com/ratchet. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. Joinbuilt.com/ratchet to start earning points with your rent payments today. I know that none of you watch porn, but just in case you have any friends that do, help me pass along this important PSA. Incognito mode does not make you incognito. Check the fine print. All your late night activities are still 100% visible to a ton of third parties, unless you use ExpressVPN. Protect your online privacy today by visiting expressvpn.com/ratchet. That's expressvpn.com/ratchet. And you can get an extra 3 months free. expressvpn.com/ratchet. Oh, there's a story in the New York Post. Clearly, I haven't been online like that for the last couple of days. An unnamed woman's lawyer has made another round of accusations against Diddy. The lawyer is Ariel Mitchell Kidd. Through her lawyer, the woman is claiming, and I'm reading this again on the New York Post, it says that Diddy doused the woman with lubricant that was mixed with the date rape drug Rohypnol before he, his bodyguard, and a third person viciously assaulted her. According to her attorney, the unnamed victim was allegedly forced to remove her clothes when Combs threatened her with a knife. And then he squirted the woman, quote, all over her body with some type of lubricant or oil. And the woman said she noticed herself becoming more and more limp. The victim did not recall being forced to consume any drugs, but the lawyer says that the oil can be a conduit for Rohypnol or GHB, the so-called date rape drug. I saw people on TikTok, I thought it was like one of those bizarre conspiracies. They were talking about how they need to test the baby oil. They were like, that's why he has so much baby oil, because they're like putting shit in it. And I was like, that's crazy. And now this lawyer is alleging the same thing. She says in order to get Rohypnol topically into someone's body, you need a conduit, which is typically oil. So it seems to me that there were some types of drugs mixed into the oil, which is why he was dousing her in that oil prior, not only to make it easier to assault her, but that's what was lowering her defenses. What? And the lawyer said she plans to file a complaint on behalf of her client later this week. I think it's also worth mentioning they set this trial for May 5th. It's the first Monday in May. If you are an avid listener to this podcast, you know that the first Monday in May is like Disney for me. Like, I anticipate this like it's a national holiday. First Monday in May is always the date of the Met Gala. The Diddy trial begins on the date of the Met Gala. I understand it is completely unreasonable to expect the judge in this trial to consider the date of the Met Gala when setting the start date of the trial. I understand that that's insane to expect the judge to consider. And still, I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious right now? I'm like, Day. I think it was the defense who asked if they could do the trial in April or May. And then Day and them from the feds were like, whatever date y'all got, we'll be ready. But I was like, Day, consider the podcasters and the journalists who have to cover all this shit. That is going to be a busy, busy day. I'm not even talking about the people who are attending. I'm talking about the people who are covering. I'm talking about all the people that work in entertainment. That is going to be a shit day for everyone. It's too much going on. And Day, the Met Gala's theme this year is all about Black men, the dandy, AKA everything Leon Talley represented all of his life. I was like, they absolutely should issue this man, since they're using him as inspiration for their theme this year. And Vogue shitted on him in his final years. I mean, actually, probably throughout all of his years, because apparently he died broke. And I was like, there is no way in hell Leon Talley should have been broke. Apparently, they were paying him in like furs and clothes. And I was like, is this like a record company from the 60s trying to pay folks in Cadillacs? They were paying that man in designer wares instead of like actual like ends, dividends, monies, USD, dollars, dineros. Looking at the Met Gala theme, I want to make sure I get this right. I can't wait for this exhibition because I know I'm not going to be invited, so this is the best I could do. The theme is super fine, tailoring Black style. They have a picture of this beautiful Black man. He looks like he's probably in his 20s. He has on a black and white suit. I think this is what would be called a zoot suit. It says the unknown American studio portrait. They don't name the photographer here. It's a beautiful sepia photo. The funny part is there's a picture of my grandfather. He don't have on a hat in his photo, but he has on a black and white striped suit that is almost identical to what this man is wearing in the photo. Apparently it was the fashion of the time. My granddaddy, my mama's daddy, was a good-looking man, easy on the eye. As per the Metropolitan Museum of Art's official showcase announcement, it says the theme will, quote, present a cultural and historical examination of the Black dandy from the figure's emergence in Enlightenment Europe during the 18th century to today's incarnations in cities around the world. I hope one of those cities or many of those cities are African cities, the men of Nigeria and the men of Ghana, because them dudes dress down. I hope the football player, the guy from Ghana who wears a lot of traditional clothes from Ghana, I met the man, had dinner with the man. It wasn't just me and him. It was a group of people. I threw my friend a birthday dinner and he stopped by. One of the other ladies at the table is a friend of his. If you know the guy I'm talking about, he looks like a grown man, like a 35 grown-ass man, but like a 35-year-old man from the 80s, not like a current 35-year-old man, but he's very much like baby age. He's like 25. Like he might be 26 at this point because that was like a year ago. That's not the point. The point is the intent is to explore the importance of sartorial style to the formation of Black identities in the Atlantic diaspora. I've never heard that term before. I've heard African diaspora. And this is talking specifically about the exhibit. It says it will unfold through significant archival garments, artworks, film excerpts, and more. It says the theme itself draws inspiration from Monica L. Miller's 2009 book, Slaves to Fashion, Black Dandyism and the Styling of Black Diasporic Identity. It notes that Miller is currently the chair and professor of Africana Studies at Columbia University Barnard's College. And she will serve as a guest curator in the first dedicated menswear exhibition in 20 years. It said the last exhibition at the Met about menswear was 2003's Braveheart Men in Skirts. Still reading further down, and I'm on Grazia magazine, by the way. It says, for the uninitiated, dandyism was used to describe someone, historically a man, who is extremely devoted to style and approaches it as a discipline. In the context of Black Americana, which is the specific focus of the exhibition, the phrase holds deeper significance. It says dandyism was initially imposed on Black men in 18th century Europe as the Atlantic slave trade and an emerging culture of consumerism created a trend of fashionably dressed or dandified servants. Dandyism offered Black people an opportunity to use clothing, gesture, irony, and wit to transform their given identities and imagine new ways of embodying political and social possibilities, AKA they like to put that shit on. Okay. It says these narratives offer a history and description of Black dandyism as a phenomenon that reflects broader issues of power and race in the Black diaspora. Okay, boom. This article has a picture of Andre Leon Talley. Thank you for acknowledging that him and his caftans and him and his endless Louis Vuitton luggage are very dandy. It also notes the work of Dapper Dan, AKA Harlem's Dandy. I've never heard him referred to that before, but I don't object. It says the late Andre Leon Talley in his red floor-length padded coats, Prince in his ruffled blouses and purple suits, and even Tyler, the Creator, in leopard knitwear and fur hats. They got the sources right. I'm a little afraid of the execution. We'll talk about this in a minute. It says the co-chairs of the gala, some of the most influential and stylish Black men operating today. Coleman Domingo, he puts his shit on for award season. Yes. Lewis Hamilton, that's the race car driver. I'm not too familiar with his fashion. I know that he's always at Paris Fashion Week. A$AP Rocky, he's in, is it W magazine? It's A$AP photographed by Rihanna. You could tell by the picture she takes of that man that she loves him down. I was wrong about him. When Rihanna announced that she was pregnant, I was like, girl, with him? Like A$AP? Really? He has stepped up to the plate. He seems to be a wonderful father. He seems to be a very good, loving partner. She looks happy. He looks happy. They seem to complement each other very, very beautifully. I have nothing negative to say about A$AP at this time. He's been on good behavior, it seems, for several years now. He said some crazy shit a while ago. He seems to have either gotten a publicist or learned to shut the fuck up. It's free. Both are very good things to do. Pharrell Williams. Pharrell is over men's fashion at Louis Vuitton. That makes sense. And then it also says LeBron James will make his first appearance at the Met Gala as honorary co-chair. Oh, this is exciting. I feel like every well-dressed Black man that America knows about, I'm specifically saying that America knows about, hopefully will be in attendance at this ball. Usher is very much a fashionista. I expect him to be there. I do expect Jay-Z to attend. Nas, Damson Idris, the Boyega. What's the other friend? Blue Blanket, Daniel Kaluuya. I saw he just got a statue in Leicester Square in London. He posted the video. He looked so bashful and shy. I think he was overwhelmed by it. The man has a whole Oscar. It's not like he lacks acknowledgement, but I think there's always something, not even I think, I know, there's something extra special about being acknowledged in your hometown. I'm really excited for this gala. I really love the theme as applied to Black people. And when we talk about the Met Gala on here, we really only talk about the black people. I mean, in general, we only talk about the black people. Like, you know, sometimes I go through an awards list and I'm like, nobody black, nobody black, nobody black. The Met Gala isn't a black event. There's a lot of black presence. There's a lot of color presence, but the majority of the attendees are white. I'm a little afraid of white folks' interpretation of black style. There's a very fine line between dandy and pimp. I want them to stay on the side of good taste. And I don't really trust white folks to do that with their interpretations of blackness. At this point, everyone should know not to do blackface and not to do blackfishing. And yet, white folks do it every fucking year for Halloween. Somebody's going to do it this year. And then there's going to be a huge backlash. And then they're going to apologize and say, oh my God, I had no idea. How did you not know? There were no black people in your circle or no black people who feel empowered in your circle to tell you, hey, that's fucking dumb and racist. Don't do that. I am afraid for the white folks who are going to be like, black style. How should I interpret this? And then show up in the equivalent of Halloween costumes instead of elevated, stylish, inspired. I worry. I hope that the white folks who are attending this event who need to be inspired by the style of black men, I hope that they engage black designers and black creatives to help them create a vision, a costume that is not fucking racist, that it's celebrating a culture instead of culturally appropriating it. There's so much potential for white folks and non-black folks, just not just white folks, but non-black folks to fuck this up. And just because like I know uncolored people the way that I do, they're gonna fuck this up. I know it's coming. That's gonna be a long day for a lot of reasons. Diddy, and then this. I have Chris Brown on my list. He's performing in South Africa, and people are trying to get the concert shut down, quote and unquote, trying to get the concert shut down. It's more of a PR move to get people to talk about domestic violence, but we'll talk about that next episode. Also, while I was doing the second edit for this episode, I saw Vogue posted its new digital cover. Vice President Kamala Harris made the cover this month with the headline, "The Candidate for Our Times." She looks really great. I didn't particularly care for the last time she was on the cover when she became the first woman to be vice president and also the first Black woman to be vice president. I haven't had a chance to read the article yet. We'll save that for next week as well. Also, this is me fully acknowledging that we should not care what Kamala Harris looks like. She is not a model. She is not an entertainer. She is a politician. She's going to be the future leader of the free world. If we all vote, it doesn't matter if she looks great, but it is the cover of Vogue and it's well styled and she looks great. And Annie Leibovitz stocked the cover. And I'm like, is this the only photographer Vogue has available? Like, they can't find no Black people to shoot the cover? Is the Black guy that shot Beyonce's cover still the only Black person to have ever shot a Vogue cover? Doing very well, very inclusive with the theme of the Met Gala. Inclusion among cover photographers still needs improvement. Annie Leibovitz is notorious for fucking up the color of Black folks on Vogue covers. I don't understand how she still gets called to photograph Black people. And yet, here we are. You know what? That's not the point. The point is, we'll talk about the content of the article on Tuesday, along with Chris Brown and whatever else comes up over the weekend. So that's the episode for today. And we'll talk again on Tuesday. And then as a reminder, next week we only do Tuesday. And then I'm off for 2 weeks. Okay? Talk soon. Talk Tuesday. Bye.